You're listening to Rob Fielder on twocountry.net.
Well, you know, I've talked about our man Ant down in the field there doing his thing. And I thought it would be fitting that we sort of caught up with Ant just to find out a little bit about his CMA Awards experience. And
it was like being in Disneyland or something like that. It was just a complete spectacle. Sort of the only way I can sort of imagine. You see these sort of things on TV and you think, wow, it's all glamorous. But when you're there, it's astounding. It's just like out of this world. And it was the same with CMA Fest, you know, in a stadium of 80,000 people. I think I even mentioned to you when you know, someone gets up and sings the Star Spangled Banner. It's just spine-tingling.
Yeah. So
they do know how to put on. They really know how to put on their you know, awards shows and their big gala events and things like that. The Americans they're fantastic at it.
And does it run like a well-oiled machine? Does it run smoothly?
It seemed like it was just, you know, like they've done it for years, which they have.
What's the red carpet like, Anne? Because, you know, it looks very glamorous, and obviously it's where they come out and they're showing off the frock that they're wearing and the jewels and the latest fashions.
Yeah.
But what's it like to work in?
Yeah. To work in it, well, last night, and again, a lot of people were saying the same thing, a lot of the other photographers, was that it was the first time that there was only one row of photographers. Normally it's 2 to 3 rows deep, which can get quite hectic, you can imagine, from working. You know, I mean, people sort of arms and, you know, shoving their way to the front and stuff like that. But there was none of that last night, which was really good. It was just literally one row, which I'm sure you saw from the live feed. Comfortable. There was a spot allocated for each photographer. We just stood in our spot, which had enough room for all our equipment. As for the actual thing, you know, people watch it on TV, or people, you know, watch it on TV, and they think, wow, it's amazing to see, you know, stars come through and stuff like that. But it is quite methodical as to how it works. You've got the cue card. Ladies walk past, sort of holding up the cue card of who is coming on next, and that's really important from a photographer's perspective. To take a photo of that because you don't know, and a lot of people I didn't know either. There was, you know, the mayor of somewhere, and there was a baseball star, and it's always good to know who you're taking a photo of. Yeah. So they would go through, they'd move across, and there's about 5 different spots on the floor which are marked out because obviously it's a long line of photographers where they stop, get their shots, they move on to the next one, so that you've always got direct front-on shots as well as side-on. You've got a variety. But it is it's repetitive from a photographer's perspective, and nonetheless it's fun because, you know, I think I was lucky because where I was positioned was sort of second to last. And right next to me there was, I can't remember his name, it was from, I really don't know, it was obviously a TV show. He was then interviewing all the stars that came through, so I was sort of listening in, you know, within arm's length of Tyler Hubbard and Brian Kelly, Florida Georgia Line. Luke Bryan turned around and gave me a rock symbol. That was really great. I didn't be able to, I guess, the luck of the draw, but it was fun. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier than, you know, running around the pit. Because you are stationary and you're taking stationary shots, so they're posing for you. You're not aiming, you're not trying to get that great angle or anything like that. You're just going to make sure that you've got the right settings on your camera to get the right colours and the skin tones and stuff like that. But yeah, that was good. But it was long because it started at 4 and finished about 6:30. So 2.5 hours of, you know, just standing there, and you can imagine the amount of people that had to come through.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because they had they normally, you would think they normally, as it goes through, you start off with the relatively unknown stars, and then you start hearing the cheering out the front, and then you look over and you see Jason Aldean coming in, and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you would think Brad and Carrie were the last two being the hosts to come through. Carrie came through about 3/4 of the way through, and after Carrie there was some, I don't know, some baseball star. And it was just really interesting the way they sort of, I thought it would just rise to a crescendo. And even Taylor Swift wasn't the last one. She was the second last one to come through. And then, I can't remember. I think it was the host from Good Morning America came through after that, and she was the last one. I might be wrong, but it was someone, you know, you would think, well, Taylor's got to be the last one. You know, she's getting the Pinnacle Award and everything. No. So really good, really good.
So you've kind of moved on from the red carpet. We saw you disappearing and being escorted into the arena.
Yeah.
What was your
Yeah,
favourite
that was fun.
performance of the night?
Well, that was interesting. We were escorted because the photographers, not all photographers were doing in-house. Some decided they wanted to do press room. And I think after having on the red carpet, I'm glad I went with the in-house because live is what I love doing. And so they grabbed about half a dozen of us who were going in, and we were going to be shooting from the soundboard, the mixing desk, which is about the same distance as where we shot Carrie from and at the O2, sort of halfway down, about 150 feet from the stage. Obviously, because it's telecast, you don't want to hold photographers in the pit. Well, there is no pit. And they escorted us through, and all of a sudden we got lost, and I was just left with one other photographer trying to find our way, and we're looking at the clock, it's like 5 to 7, and it's like, we're going to miss the opening, what's going on? We just rushed through, managed to find I didn't even find my particular seat that I was allocated, but I just went to the mixing desk, saw an empty seat in the raised platform and just set up my tripod and didn't move for the rest of the night. And it was good because, I got everything set up just in time. I managed to catch Carrie and Brad coming out. It's quite good because it is telecast. You do get countdowns between ads, so you know when it's ready to start again, that sort of stuff. But there were a few I got used to it after a while, but in the beginning it was a bit sort of, what's going on? What's happening? It's like I'm hearing something, but I can't see anyone on the stage, and then I turn around, there's this stage behind me, about 20 yards behind me, and they're playing this. I've got to change the camera to a shorter lens.
What was the reaction in that arena like?
I wouldn't say I was almost in tears, but it was just so emotional. It's been a long time. You've got your Luke Bryans, your Blake Sheltons, and everyone like that. You think they're going to take the crown, but for him, and I was astounded when I heard his name, but so happy because the guy's he's what you would call a living legend. He really is, and the crowd just I'm pretty sure the whole stadium rose up when he won the award, and I think a lot of people were surprised. But really pleasantly surprised. They just probably didn't think that he was going to. I don't think George thought he was going to either because he was emotional. I remember seeing, because I had the 500mm lens, so I was right up close. I could actually see the face and the facial expressions. And he had a tear in his eye when he was doing his acceptance speeches. It was just a real moment, and there were two real moments when he and Alan Jackson did that tribute to George Jones, and they focused the cross on George's wife on the big screen as well. It was just, I'm so glad they did that.
Ant and I spoke for some time about the whole week and his experience, but I just wanted to bring you just a little snippet of what it was like to be there at the awards ceremony, working it alongside the CMA. We sent Ant out there. He was out doing his thing for Two Country, and I just wanted to share just what a special event that really is in country music's calendar, and what it was like to work the red carpet, to meet the stars and photograph them and be in the awards ceremony, watching them collect their awards and obviously their performances as well. And Ant's a really important part of this family here at Two Country, so I wanted him to be a part of this special CMA Awards series show as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was just something a little different. So I guess looking just quickly at the winners of this year's CMA Awards, Song of the Year went to Lee Brice's I Drive Your Truck. Album of the Year, Blake Shelton's Based on a True Story. New Artist of the Year, the lovely Casey Musgroves. Vocal Duo, it was always going to be Florida Georgia Line, wasn't it? The Music Video of the Year, Highway Don't Care, Tim McGraw, Taylor Swift and Keith Urban. The Musical Event of the Year also went to Tim, Taylor and Keith for Highway Don't Care. Single of the Year, well, it broke all the records, Cruise for Florida Georgia Line. Your Vocal Group of the Year, Little Big Town, richly deserved. Male vocalist, the one, the only Blake Shelton and his lovely wife Miranda Lambert, who I thought was looking incredibly slim, trim and healthy. She walked away with Female Vocalist of the Year, much to the disgust of Casey Musgraves. The Entertainer of the Year, here were the nominees: Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan, Blake Shelton, Taylor Swift and George Strait. And you know what? The King walked away victorious.